Okay, so I'm going to share my screen here. And let me see here. We want to do, let me see, move this out of the way for a second here. Slideshow from the beginning. Okay, here we go. So I'm going to share some information about our Summer Health Professions Education Program at the University of Washington. And our program, all programs across the nation, there are 12 sites, and they will start, they start at different times. They all will be 6 weeks long this year, and they are all virtual this year. So our program starts June 21 and ends July 30th. Oh, let me see if it's gonna go here. Yep, page down. Let's see what's gonna go. Not sure why it's stuck here. There we go. So this gives you an idea of the 3 programs that we have at the University of Washington. All of the 12 program sites have some curriculum around medicine and dentistry, and then it differs from there on. And so we also have curriculum around public health. And the goals of our program are to strengthen the academic proficiency and career development of students underrepresented in the health professions, and to prepare students for a successful application and matriculation into the health professions of your choice. And this gives you an idea of the 12 program sites. And so you, for those who haven't started the application process, you can, it's an online application, and you go to shpep.org. There are, so this is the slide that I give you some advice. So the University of Washington, if you are in the what we call the WWAMIO region, Washington, Wyoming, Alaska, Montana, Idaho, and Oregon, you fall within our catchment area. So I highly encourage you to, of the 3 sites that you can apply to, do apply to 3, because it is a competitive program. But if you fall within the WWAMIO region, please do consider applying to the University of Washington as one of your sites. And then the other advice I give students is to think about if the program were in person, where are students more likely to want to spend their summers? And it's usually West Coast and East Coast. So those generally get more applications. So if you're very invested in getting into the program, think about applying to at least one middle of the country program, and see how that goes. They generally get fewer applications. There are a couple other things that you need to consider since the programs are virtual this year. You need to consider when the date that the program starts. Some start earlier than our program, and you may not be out of school yet, out of your spring quarter. And the other thing is to think about what time of day they might start. So if you remember, if it starts at 9 a.m. on the East Coast, that's 6 a.m. on the West Coast. So it may mean that you want to reach out to some programs that you're interested in and just ask them what time of day they start and how long their programs are. I'll get to a slide that discusses how our program will run. It'll be a little bit different than the slide, but I wanted to share that with you. And this gives you an idea of as I mentioned, all 12 program sites offer some curriculum around dentistry and medicine, and then it differs. So you can see that there's about 6 programs that offer some curriculum around nursing, 2 optometry, 5 pharmacy, 2 physical therapy, 2 physician's assistant, and 5 for public health. And I mentioned the catchment areas before, but each school does have a catchment area and they're more likely, at least our site is more likely to review the applications from our catchment region first, except for public health, in which we do a national review of all applicants of students who are interested in public health. Another question you might have is how many students are part of the program? Well, generally there are 80 students, 40 of them are interested in medicine, 20 in dentistry, and 20 in public health. And we've been asked to take about 5 to 10 more students this year because it's virtual. And so we may end up doing that this year as well. So I mentioned again that well, what I didn't mention, it is free to you. It's a 6-week virtual summer program. You will be paid a $600 stipend, but because you're not able to live on campus this year because of COVID, we are also paying a food allowance of $100 a week to students. So in the end, you will make $1,200 from being part of this program. Eligibility, you must be a U.S. citizen, a permanent resident, or have DACA status granted by USCIS. Be a college first year or sophomore at the time of application, have a minimum GPA of 2.5, not have previously participated in the program. And those who have participated in Running Start should apply. I often get questions about Running Start, and we do encourage students who've gone through the Running Start program. If you're concerned about having too many credits, we actually encourage you to apply because we can count those as high school credits. The UW SHPEP, as I mentioned, we're looking for first year and sophomore students. And part of the reasoning behind that is we want to get you early in the process when you're thinking about your career in the health professions. Because we teach courses, if you haven't taken them already, it might be helpful for you to get a little glimpse of what they're like, and then go back to your home institution and do really well in them, and hopefully have the confidence to do really well in them. We accept students from community colleges, technical colleges, and four-year colleges and universities. So any student college student. We're looking for students from underrepresented backgrounds, so ethnically or racially underrepresented, but also considering educationally and or economically disadvantaged communities. And if you're ready to take those foundational science courses, but also if you've taken them, that you feel like you could have, that you can bone up on them and do much better and to master them. So we're open to that as well. So this year, and generally we have students take 4 courses that are taught twice a week. However, this year, because it is virtual, we're going to have students take 3 courses. So all students will take biology and all students will take population health. If you are applying as a public health student, all of those students will take biostatistics because you will be taking that as a public health student at some point. And then our other course is organic chemistry. So other students can choose to take organic chemistry or go into biostatistics. And then we are currently planning our virtual activities. So we know that we'll have some dental simulation lab activities. We'll have the nursing lab activities. The medical laboratory sciences also wants to have an activity as well to share with you. All our students will be given an iPad for you to keep. And then we will also be sending off some care boxes to you with some materials that our instructors would like you to have. And this gives you an idea. This was our schedule from last year. We only had the program for 4 weeks, and we've been asked to, all programs have been asked to extend it to 6 weeks this year. So it will look a little bit different. So as you can see, our courses are taught in the morning. So we will have, twice a week, we have courses. We also have guided wellness as part of our program. That was something that the National Program Site suggested all programs really put some special attention into offering some wellness components to this. Our pathway program, I just have it on this schedule once a week, but we will actually have it twice a week. And this is when we divide students into their health profession of choice. So if you're in medicine, you'll go into the medicine pathway, dental pathway, and public health into the public health pathway. And this is where you learn more about the application process. So you might learn about the interview, you might learn about the MCAT or the DAT or the GRE, and you will also have an opportunity to meet and talk with other, with faculty and practitioners who come from underrepresented backgrounds. And I think it can be pretty inspiring to have that opportunity to see that they came from similar backgrounds and they made it. And so can you. And then there's some office hours, and we do offer study hall. Even on Sundays, the students like to have study hall on Sundays. And we hire 5 TAs, and they're responsible for our bonding activities. So last year, they did a Iron Chef cook-off. They did an art show. They did a Black Girl Chit Chat, and different types of groups. So I think that they did a great job with that. Being that was the first time we've had to go virtual because of COVID. And we will have, we may have a few classes on study skills, definitely on professionalism. We had someone who is the dean of the Iowa site and who had actually graduated from our SHPEP program many, many years ago. She came back and did a class on professionalism that I thought she did a good job on. And then, of course, students really love the virtual hands-on activities as well. So it's a great program. One of the things I didn't tell you, though, and which you can probably figure out from looking at the schedule, is that we recognize that Zoom fatigue can happen. And so our program will run from 9 to about 12:30 every day. And some programs are longer and are the length of the day, but we just are, at our site, we realize that may be a long time to be on the computer. So we wanted to have that. And the exploration, the career development pieces are now in our Pathways program. So exploring the health profession, the admissions process, and also developing your academic plan. So there are 3 pieces to applying to this program. Because the application deadline is coming up really soon, February 5th, I'm going to encourage you to, as soon as you can, even today would be great, to request your transcripts. So look online and see where they need to be sent or emailed. And also to think about and get who you want to provide a letter of recommendation. So that's a really easy form. You can find that online too, and they can email it back. So they can either just check box the form and write a little bit, or some folks end up writing a letter. Sometimes students ask, well, I'm a first-year student, I don't know anyone. So if you have an employer that knows you really well, if you had a high school instructor that knew you well, that's okay too, to add that, just in case you haven't had the opportunity to really create some relationships with some of your faculty or advisors. And then the other piece, so it's 3 pieces only: your transcript, your letter recommendation, and then an essay. And this gives you an idea of the essay. So and this is online as well. So it's a statement, it's an opportunity to share why you're interested in pursuing a health professions career, and why would you be a good candidate to be part of this program. So you can talk about your economic experiences, your cultural experiences, social experiences, some of the obstacles you've overcome, community service you've interested in and have done. So thinking about those things, thinking about your personal background, and some of those experiences that have influenced your decision. So what do you want them to know, the program sites, that aren't showing up in other parts of the application? So what are some of the experiences you've had, and how would you influence healthcare disparities, and how would you advance diversity and improve healthcare for all? And so it's the essay can be up to 600 words. You don't have to do 600 words, but it can be up to 600 words. And if you have any questions, you're welcome to contact me. My email is ncorona@uw.edu, or you can also look online at the shpep.org website, and there's a general email for our University of Washington site, but also for the other sites as well, if you have questions for them. And this program is co-sponsored by the Robert Wood Johnson Foundation. And this is a photo from a couple of years ago, before COVID. So it was a great group of students, and it always is. So I'm going to stop sharing, and then I'm going to turn off the recording.